and I wanted to introduce to this stage all of our panelists, and first of all, the moderator for this panel, Ms. Laura Inamedinova, who's the CEO of LKA Consulting Marketing Agency.
Thank you. Could I get a big round of applause for all our panelists?
We gotta see where our photos are.
As we're getting ready for this panelist, we all, I think we need one more chair actually.
Do we?
One more chair. Sorry, George. I mean, we have too many panelists. You have to go.
Too many chairs.
As we're waiting for this panel and preparing, we all collectively agree this is definitely one of the most sexiest panel ever. Is this correct? But now, enough about the sexiest. Let's talk more about Metaverse and content. And let me introduce myself. My name is Laura. I run a marketing agency, and we focus on crypto and blockchain projects from strategy to execution. And I will let the other panelists also introduce themselves. And I'm very happy that we have another lady also from marketing here. Nikita, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Nikita Sachdev. I'm the CEO of Luna PR and Luna VC. So we do crypto, PR and marketing, and we also have a VC. We usually come in as strategic partners, and we only focus in the crypto and blockchain industries.
Hey everyone, my name is Prateek. Hey, my name is Prateek. As you can see, I am a crypto maximalist. I bought Bitcoin very early to buy things that I can't mention here, and was absolutely hooked. And now I run the world's first sustainable blockchain, FIRE, where we have changed consensus to inculcate sustainability because it was interesting. People were talking about it just now. And also the whole 9-yard VC funds and everything else.
Hi, my name is Patrick Martin. I run a family office called Europe.
I think we're having problems with the microphones.
I think, oh, there we're back. So, yeah, I run my own family office. I'm an investor, a serial entrepreneur, and I've been investing and advising companies in the blockchain and crypto space for the last 6 years. Before that, I was a content creator myself, so I was running film distribution, film production businesses in Europe, the UK, and the US. And I'm here to explore how we can export that knowledge and know-how into the metaverse.
Hi everyone, my name is Colin Fitzpatrick. I am the CEO of Animal Concerts. We do live streaming concerts online and in the metaverse for A-list artists, and then we partner with those artists to do curated NFT drops on their behalf. I'm Irish, I'm from Dublin, but I've been living here in Dubai for 3 years.
I think we'll need new mics. Sorry guys for the technical difficulties. No one can handle the knowledge we're having.
That's it, okay.
We're six for the mics.
Working, maybe you go, I'm done, you go.
Hello, it works. Hey, I'm George Ho, entrepreneur, also advisor and investor in different type of crypto projects for the last 4 years. And very, very interested to talk about Metaverse and what creators are gonna do in the next evolution.
Thank you everyone. Now we're basically gonna play the game that I ask question and whoever mic works, that person answers. And let's start with a very simple one, something to open this panel. By the way, if someone from the audience down the line will have some questions, please do, but there is one thing, it has to be a very, very hard question. So let's make the panelists sweat for it. So, anyone, so how does content creation look in a metaverse? When we're thinking metaverse, what we're thinking like VR, 3D, it's very different. Maybe someone can shed a little bit light for the audience.
My microphone works, I guess. I was gonna pass it on to you. You know, Metaverse is so broad right now. I'll just talk about like Roblox, okay? Because it's like the progenitor of the Web 3.0 type of metaverses is coming out on the chain. So I think we're in the beginning stages, like almost like a golden age, a renaissance of creators, because now the creators, the artists have so many tools, and it's so cheap and inexpensive to get started. Everything is being disintermediated, right? So the centralized organization is going to get less of the money. More of the money is going to go back to the creators. That's what I really see. Last year, obviously, if you look at the NFT market, one of the standouts is Ferocious. And he was 18 last year, maybe 19 now. His family's from El Salvador. He was really bullied as a kid. And his mom is like, no, I think he was raised by his grandmother. So what I'm saying right now is this: I think the metaverse is going to be it's a tool that's going to allow people to find their tribe. And if you think about young kids, I have a son who's 15, he's trying to find his way, but you think about yourself, right? I think everybody in this room, in some instances, is iconoclastic, because we're new. If you told your friends that, hey, I'm going to a Metaverse conference, they're going to probably say, what the heck are you really doing, right? So if you're new, as Ferocious was, and you just wasn't able to find your tribe, right? And he's a trans kid, bullied all his life, but he had a passion, right? He had a passion that's creativity, of drawing. People didn't realize what he could do, but then he was able to put that information and put those pictures on the blockchain, and it went ballistic. He did a joint venture with a whole bunch of different type of association, did sneaker drops, and the rest is history. So what I see is that Roblox right now, if you think about games, it's maybe 40 million daily actives right now. And if you look at the ones that we talk about in this room a lot, we talk about Sandbox, we talk about Decentraland. Sandbox, I think, monthly is about 30,000. Decentraland's monthly is about 20,000. So we're at the beginning where people can come on, put creativity onto the blockchain, and make money. And they can incentivize it whereby they can find their tribe. So if they're being bullied, they're iconoclastic, they can find the tribe, they can find support, and really manifest their greatness.
Yeah, completely agree with all of that. And what I would add to that is, what's really awesome about the metaverse is that it's like the world we all dream of and imagine of, because anything is possible. You know, you want to fly, you can do it in the metaverse. You want to teleport, you can do it in the metaverse. You want to be taller, you can do it in the metaverse. You know, you can be whoever you want. And as you said, kids are already, spending so much time. Roblox is like a social platform. It's where they're all hanging out, they're all having their experiences, and that is just in a digital age. We've all been so digital already. I mean, we can't live with our phones. We spend so much time in front of this screen. That is only going to increase. And I think a lot of people are very scared of this. They're like, oh, I don't want to live this digital world and stuff like that. We're already living it. It's just going to go even more. But coming back to what you said, I mean, look at the creators in YouTube, and they're now becoming the big powerhouses in the entertainment industry. PewDiePie, basically the most syndicated guy ever. It's insane. And he just does stupid voices while playing games in some people's minds. But when it comes to the metaverse, that now expands dramatically. And I mean, you only have to look outside to see what some of the people are doing in the metaverse. We had a talk earlier about, land in the metaverse. There's real estate agents in the metaverse now, people doing mortgages and lending for NFTs. We are absolutely only at the beginning. So you talked about the numbers there, and what's already happening. And like what I talked about already, there are some pretty big events. Ariana Grande, 78 million people attended her concert. And most people don't even know what Fortnite is. Wait a couple of years and think how big those numbers are going to be. We're only just seeing the light of the possibilities. And because of the dynamics of the metaverse, we're just going to see so much more that we can't even dream or imagine of now that is going to be commonplace in a couple of years.
Anyone else likes to chip in about the content?
Well, I think at the moment the content, I mean, the metaverse is so young that there's not much content there. And I think at the moment the ones that are adopting it very quickly are brands. They're seeing this opportunity to land grab and basically open their virtual stores and their virtual shopping malls, and then there's also some gambling going on with virtual casinos. So I think they're like these are like the they're just putting up billboards in a new place, but I think that's not what's going to make people come and stay. It might be an interesting thing on the side, but I think we need to create professional content for the metaverse, experiences that are not possible anywhere else, where people can come together and experience them at the same time, like you're doing with these concerts with real people. But eventually you probably will have avatars doing concerts in the metaverse, and then maybe you're filming it in the metaverse and then broadcasting it on television to the other people who are not there yet. So we don't know where it's going to go, but I think it's like an open canvas. And I like the most advanced ones are the ones you mentioned, like Roblox and Epic Games, Fortnite. But those are, of course, walled gardens that belong to the corporations. And I'm more excited about the decentralized metaverses like Decentraland, Sandbox, and those where you actually can own land, you can earn income, and you cannot be displaced by the corporation because they can't buy the whole thing. So I think that's kind of the vision also from a crypto and Web3 point of view. That's where we all want to go. We want to be enabling people that are currently disadvantaged maybe in the real world, but they can own something in the metaverse and build a career or a life there. I mean, I don't need to be there the whole time, but I think content creation is a very powerful tool for people that have not a lot of assets, but they have creativity and they can express themselves.
I love what everyone is saying, that Metaverse is basically empowering everyone to create their own realities, their own worlds. And then when you think about these people who are creating them, they're becoming the influencers, they're becoming the QLs, basically, as their frontiers of this industry. And then we have this very, very big clash between Web3 and Web2. When it comes to Web2, we're thinking influencers, selfies, all the brand deals, a little bit different. So I want to ask a question to Nikita, who runs a PR agency. So how actually the influence, their KOLs, and their role is changing with the Metaverse coming on board?
Sure. So, really good question. Of course, having a PR and marketing agency, we've been dealing with influencers and KOLs on a daily basis. We've been in the space since 2017, and we even before Luna PR, we had Luna Management, was just an influencer management firm, still exists, based out of Singapore, and we manage a couple of thousand influencers. And the lifestyle traditional influencers are just a whole different ballgame from Web3 influencers. Now with the rise of Web3, we've seen influencers are not just about just the image anymore. There's so much more to influencers. It's more than just what you're portraying or what pictures you're putting up. It's about what you're representing. Influencers have so much more power and responsibility because they're kind of creating their own little communities, especially in the world of crypto, NFTs, Metaverse. We find that one influencer, a couple of influencers will not just want to get involved in a project because of the money that they're getting, but they want to get involved because of the money that they're paying. It's like the other way around. Like, I'm an influencer, I've invested in the project, so you don't need to pay me. I'm going to talk about this project for free because I'm vested in it. So it's a whole different ballgame. On top of that, it's almost like it's become a very different dynamic. Let's say, 5-10 years ago, maybe I take a picture of myself, I'm wearing this top, my top is from Zara, for example. Now, in the Web3 world, I'm gonna ask, who designed this top? Are they good people? Do they even exist? Is it made from child labor in China? Is it sustainable? Like, I want to know all these little, I need my boxes ticked before I represent anything. On top of that, now, from the viewer perspective, you're not just watching me on Instagram or YouTube. In the Metaverse, you're sitting with me. You're actually looking at me just like you're looking at me now in real time. And your avatar could be wearing the same top, and you can see exactly how your avatar looks in the same top. So it just brings, and the top is just an example. What I mean to say it is all of a sudden there's so much more reach, so much more engagement. It's, you can tap into such a large audience just through the metaverse.
Anyone else would like to add something? Awesome. So let's continue this road of working with influencers, promoting your projects. Prateek, you're the CMO of a blockchain project. So tell everyone in the audience, so how does Metaverse play in your marketing strategies? Maybe there are some strategies when it comes to content that you could share some tips with everyone here to really have these like concrete takeaways for them to maybe implement.
Well, that's a very loaded and interesting question because we're all figuring it out, right? I think the marketing in Metaverse in general is very same as traditional marketing, but very different at the same time, because as far as I understand, it comes down to 3 points. One is personalization, the second is community, that we've done pretty well, and the third is experimentation. So, you know, the driving principles that dictate marketing or human psychology in general are pretty much the same. Desires, companionship, sexuality, fear, all these things have been driving us for not just the advent of technology, but for millennia. And they're going to be the same for the foreseeable future. The difference that I see is personalization. So somebody who, like a woman who's in remote parts of Vietnam versus somebody who's in Ecuador, in a metaverse, on the same billboard, sees two very different messages that are catered to who they are, what they are, and where they are. And that is a marketer's wet dream, to be honest. So I think in terms of tips, personalization is going to play a very, very major role in the metaverse. And as I said, something that we've done well in the blockchain communities is community itself. So a lot of old PR firms or brands in general are not able to understand or grasp metaverse because they're so rigid in terms of what they want to do. They have a very draconian marketing message and they never want to go away. They don't want to do anything that's different. And you're going to see this go away because everything that we do, I don't create the metaverse, you don't create the metaverse, and they certainly don't create the metaverse. So we all do this together. So I think the marketing messaging is going to be way better if it is community driven. If it's along with everyone, for everyone, and with everyone. And that's something that people need to understand to sort of to make sure that this goes the way it's supposed to go. And that segues me into experimentation because it is community driven. It's never really happened in the past because we've been so rigid. So for me, I've been throwing a bunch of shit against the wall for the past 15 years in terms of marketing. As some I can mention here, some I can't. But crazy experiments, insane things, new avatars, just keep on doing new things because together we're going to figure out what actually works in the metaverse. And I think in the future, I'm super excited because it's just so unknown. And there's so much more space for me to experiment and do things that I want to do.
So you have to be very innovative, creative, focus on communities. That's great. Colin, I heard you're running a business that got quite a few very, very famous celebrities on board.
Sure.
So maybe you can share a bit more about how you got it, what's happening there, and how you're marketing it. Let's talk more about the marketing and the content.
Yeah, so just to follow up what Prateek said, what I have seen so far is that there's huge amount of interest from large international brands to get exposure in the metaverse. And we're going to be hosting concerts in the metaverse, and what the interesting thing is that when you're building a concert venue, which we're doing, the sky is the limit. You don't have the normal bounds of, oh, you know, it's going to cost this much. Well, you can do anything you want. So we've built a metaverse venue with 2 giant beer cans behind the stage, and then we've had beer companies go, I want to sponsor that. But what's cool is that, you know, these guys throw around large amounts of money. So you can get a couple of 100K, 500K from these guys with a blink of an eye, because they know that when they spend that money, they can just do traditional PR and get, you know, traditional media exposure. So it's like a zero cost to them. I read an article the other day from Tatler, you know, Tatler in the magazine, and it was I can't remember the exact title, but it was something like How to Be Cool in the Metaverse. Where to go, who to see, what to buy. And if Tatler are doing that, you kind of know something kind of cool is going to happen, you know? So we've, as you say, we've brought on some really cool musicians. We've had Future, who, if you don't know him, is a really big deal in the rap industry. Had a #1 hit with Drake a little while ago.
Who doesn't know Future? Sorry.
Well, you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't. But yeah, I mean, but Alicia Keys, and I think everyone knows that. And now we're about to do something with Billy Ray Cyrus and Snoop Dogg, which I hope is just going to blow up and it's going to be massive. But what I see from these guys is, like I said earlier, these are not tech people, okay? And I mean, even tech people don't necessarily understand the metaverse and NFTs, and music people even less. But you know what? They understand opportunity, and they understand business, and they understand how they can utilize technologies and, you know, spaces like this to increase their brand awareness, to interact with their fans in new and interesting ways and new and interesting places, and that's what's most interesting. So for marketers, that becomes, you know, a paradise of now we can have this infinite land where anything is possible, where we can bring in a huge amount of brands, we can match that up with, you know, really big names, and the sky's the limit as to what we can do and how we can do it.
I love this. And now, if we're going a little bit from marketing, because marketing needs a lot of budget, right? We need to have investors. We need to have someone who is basically paying for all these amazing articles and influencers. So, Patrick, you advise companies on growth and investment acquisition. So, let's talk about the investor's perspective. Does content play a big role in when deciding to invest or not a company, or still numbers is the #1 thing that kind of goes on top of the list?
Well, content is the starting point, right? When you're investing early, or very early stage, pre-seed, then there are no numbers. There are hopes and dreams, and then you need to basically put together a team. When the team is already together, they need to put together a product, but before there's any numbers, there needs to be content, so they need to have a product that they want to build or that they are building. And in content creation, the product is the piece of content like a script for a movie or a television show or a game. And so the content always has to come first, and then you can come up with some expectations on how the numbers are going to work out. And of course, when you're coming a bit later as an investor, when the product is already there and you have early numbers where you can see, okay, people are adopting it. But of course, in the metaverse, that's we don't really know what the numbers are yet. I think the only sure bet at the moment is what Colin is saying. So the brands are coming in and they're spending money there because they say, okay, there are people there, and I want them to see my brand, and there are actually people there that I don't know how to reach in the real world because they don't go there, because they're sitting at home in whatever country they are, but I still want them to drink Coca-Cola, so if I put a Coca-Cola banner in front of their window in their metaverse apartment, they might get thirsty, and in the real world they'll order a Coke, right? So it's that's like an easy leap, but I think the real challenge is going to be to create like more high-end content where it's not just the brand promoting themselves, but where it becomes a journey where you go to the metaverse to experience storytelling, to experience immersive things that you wouldn't be able to do in the real world. Or maybe, you know, if you're living in a third world country, you might not even have a shopping mall or a cinema you can go to, or an amusement park. So you can build these things in the metaverse and then give people access to things like this, to have immersive experiences, to have things that they can't have where they are in the space and time. So I think that's a big opportunity. And then the numbers will come, right? Because if you build something really exceptional and amazing that people want to see, then they will come. Like at the moment, I think the other big thing that already is kind of more or less established in the metaverse is art. Because the artists they're always the groundbreakers, they're the visionaries, they come up with a new concept that you say, okay, that doesn't make sense, and then like a year later the thing sells for $1 million at an auction at Sotheby's, right? And so the artists are already there, they're building things, and of course to experience the art, if you can experience the art, you don't need to go to Art Basel anymore, right? You can go to Art Basel NFT in Decentraland, and you can experience all the art pieces there. So suddenly it becomes accessible for a much broader audience and a younger audience. And so I think these are some of the things that will drive them, and then the numbers will come, right? So
I really love what Patrick is saying. We, as a render marketing agency, also see that the storytelling, the whole selling the idea and vision always comes first. And first you want to sell your potential investors this idea, and then if they like it and you have the budget, the tech will follow. And Nikita, you also come from an investment background. Could you share a bit of your experience here?
Yeah, sure. So apart from the backers, the fundamentals, and the tech of the project, what we look at when we're investing from a marketing perspective is three things: the branding, the marketing, and the PR. What I feel is like if the basics, like the website, is just not, you know, UI UX friendly, then it's gonna draw users away from joining the platform. In addition, community is everything with Web3, with crypto, with NFTs, with the Metaverse. Community is what drives these projects. So we really need to focus on the community, and we always advise our clients as well to grow the community. And even if they're not going through us, that's one thing that we look at when we're investing in projects, is how large their community is. Media presence is also important. It just builds credibility behind the brand. I think the crypto world really understands the Metaverse. There's just a lot of synergies. So we like tapping into both, like the crypto and traditional press. But these things, like I always tell all my clients, don't underestimate the power of marketing when it comes to raising funds.
Hello. Oh, great. So I think one of the comments that you were making about democratization, if you were here a couple days ago, they had the biggest Comic-Con event in all the Middle East. And I'm sure if you would have gone there, you would have saw that a lot of the derivations came from one guy, Stan Lee, right? If you look at Netflix right now, I don't know how much money in the last 5 years was derived through the Marvel comics. And what I see on the Metaverse and the creators all coming online is that we have an opportunity for so many people out there to be able to create. And think about if one man, Stan Lee, was able to do so much for entertainment, to give so much happiness to people around the world, what happens if in the next 10 years we have 10,000 Stan Lees? How would that affect the world, right? And there's no time than right now that we know that we got to build bridges. We got to build bridges. And what he was talking about on his last keynote speech was that you go to the NFT, you go to the concerts, and you're able to see all the other concerts that they've been to before. Then immediately, even if you don't have a lot of interpersonal skills and you can accept rejection, and you don't know, like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, you don't know how to talk to people, you can see it transparently. Hey, these are all the things they've done before, and then you can try to find a commonality, a bond, to build that tribe. All right, so that's one thing. And then another thing that we gotta probably admit right now, one of the most prolific, life-changing entrepreneurs out in the marketplace right now, Elon, right? I know he says the craziest things on Twitter, but if you look at his history, when he came from South Africa, he was bullied, he was hospitalized by bullies, right? And in his mind, at a young age, he told his parents, I gotta get to America. I got to get to America. Now, things have changed, geopolitically and everything else like that, but I think the Metaverse now is a conduit that they can get to America and get all the contents without leaving their home. So if we can get 10,000 more Stan Lees, what happens if we get 10,000 more Elon Musks? How would the world change? And you're going, how is that even possible? It's possible because if they got Starlink, they got some Chromebook, and they're able to get on the Metaverse, they're able to find tribes, and maybe they're picked on in their tribe right now, as in they're too smart. Okay, they're too smart. As in, we know about calculus, we know that Sir Isaac Newton did calculus, but we also know that there was another Russian guy. But the Russian guy doesn't get any credit. The Russian guy didn't get a lot of collaboration. Now with the Metaverse, people can come in, they can find a tribe, and maybe this smarty pants nerds, and then they can elevate themselves. They can elevate themselves. That's what I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think that's extremely good points there. Think about the amount of people out there, especially over the last 2 years. You've got a lot of young kids locked inside, COVID, can't go outside, severe social anxiety, but they still want to be present, they still want to be part of things, and they're still going to spend money. and in the metaverse, like we said earlier, they can be whoever they want to be. They can find their tribe. Like what we do is concerts, and someone came up to me and said, I'd love to go to a concert, but I don't want to be surrounded by all those people. If I can do it from the comfort of my own home, that's amazing. And that's just one example, but there's 100 examples of where the metaverse is going to provide a platform for people to be able to have experiences in the way they want them, from the comfort of their own home, with an avatar that looks the way they want. And, you know, I think there's unbelievable potential there in the future.
I love this. I love how Metaverse is, I think I'm even repeating myself, just empowering and giving so much potential for everyone, inclusivity. But then if we go a little bit back, and George, I want to kind of focus on you. You're in a hot seat now. So you are an early investor, you're in the industry for many years. So let's take a step back, and how did the whole industry kind of evolve and change from first, 2016 ICOs, a lot of scam projects going now, to Metaverse, empowering people, giving accessibility? That's a big thing. I would love to hear more about that.
Well, when I got started, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, okay? In the beginning, you know, as I said, I do nutritional products. I've been involved with a lot of like different nutrition companies around the world. And when I got into Bitcoin, it was actually because eGold and some other type of centralized currency distribution companies went out of business. I didn't understand the decentralization aspect. I think all of it before, a lot of investors came in, and obviously they were going for alpha, and a lot of us didn't understand what the hell was really going on, but we kept seeing it rise, rise, and rise, and we said, hey, maybe we need to hodl it for a while. And we're on the cusp of a whole bunch of changes, right? Nobody knows if it's just a elongated trend of a market, and then also diminishing returns. And if we're coming to a bear market, please don't shank me, okay? If we're coming to the bear market soon. But what I believe absolutely without a shadow of a doubt is that games with the metaverse is a Trojan horse. Because I don't care where the market goes. My son's gonna ask me for Roblox money every freaking week. Every week. Every week, okay? He's not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop. And if you look at Roblox, you know, it's doubled income in 12 months. It did $1.9 billion last year. It's very, very centralized. The top two games, I think the first is like some type of pet hotel he made me play, because I'm trying to build a bond with my son, right? I can't talk about all these other things because he loves Roblox. And think of what the metaverse is gonna do, as in games are gonna come on. Yes, we talk about AAA games, we want immersive games like Call of Duty and you know, all this other stuff, but not everybody can afford really high-end NVIDIA rigs, right? But people can afford more things that can play with Minecraft, with Roblox, with Decentraland, with Sandbox. And as that comes online, so the number I said before is that Sandbox, 30,000 last month, 20,000 for Decentraland. Roblox is 40 million a day. 40 million a day. As those games come on, what happens if $1.8 billion a year or more goes into the creators? And also great about the metaverse is it doesn't care how old you are, it doesn't care what color you are, what creed you are, what religion you are. None of those handicaps or benefits or assets accrue. You just got to go build a game. You got to start aggregating people to your game. And if they like your game, the market likes your game, you start making money. You start making money. And then once you get that base, you increase your self-confidence. And I'm sure there's so many people in this room can attest to the fact that, hey, if you're crypto wealthy, you start giving more. You start giving more. So we also start that virtuous cycle of philanthropy at a young age.
Would someone like to add?
So on the question, coming back to your question, so where did it go from like the early ICOs to
Yes.
like the metaverse? So I think that the metaverse has not really been exposed to these tendencies. So I think that because the people that are in there are some tokens, but they're not really that relevant. I think it's the interesting thing is much more about the content in the metaverse. So because, yes, you can own a piece of the metaverse by buying a piece of land, and some people do, and I think as from an investor point of view, that's an interesting angle, but the creativity of the individuals, that cannot be stopped, I think, once you give them the tools. And the interesting thing is that from a technology point of view, we're only now at a point where it is possible to create meaningful content in 3D in a metaverse from a laptop, or maybe even from a phone. That wasn't possible like 5-10 years ago. And so now creativity is really the driving factor, and not really the technology or the big budgets. So everybody can do that. Of course, the big budget production companies, they will eventually wake up to this, and then they will put money behind it. But hopefully some of the early creators will then be swept up in that, and then they're going to start making real money as well.
Yeah, and there's a old cliche in digital marketing called content is king. So if I was reading this article a few days ago that the internet is a fad and it's not going to stay, somewhere in the 80s and the 90s, because the same thing was happening. People were scamming each other. But the technology behind it, the people that are coming in and adding so much value, something like YouTube, there's 30,000 minutes of content uploaded every single day. And that's why YouTube is what YouTube is. And that is why Metaverse and the creators are going to power this economy and make sure that this stays, because when there's people putting out new stuff all the day, and they're innovating all the time, doesn't matter if there's a few that are scamming. We are always going to move ahead and go ahead, and that's why, as an investor myself, that's what I see, that this is something that people are going to use to express themselves and to be there and live there, and as long as that keeps on happening, there's going to be a few bad actors, and they're going to be the same article on the New York Times like in the 80s.
I love this. As we're running out of time, I still want to ask one question, but before this, I would like to get an audience involved a little bit as well. So how many of you, please raise your hand? Questions later. Now it's going to be a question for everyone. Believe that Metaverse will be mainstream, and it's going to be basically used by everyone. Okay, we have 50% of so hands. Not everyone. So a question to all of our panelists. You are totally believers that Metaverse is going to be mainstream. What can we all do, those who raised their hands, to convince the other ones that, hey, Metaverse is here is to stay, and let's make it mainstream? Nikita, maybe you'd like to add with the marketing.
I mean, how can you not believe it when Facebook just changed their name to Meta? But yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting there, and like George said, like, you know, your kids will be in the metaverse. Like, your kids will be getting educated in the metaverse. They'll be partying in the metaverse. The world is moving on to the metaverse. It might sound scary, but it really is. Recently here in Dubai, I went to like a VR kind of gaming room in DIFC, and we put on this game set. I went there to take my team as a team building exercise, and we went into a metaverse. It looked like a creepy Hawaiian land, and we were like going up in helicopters. It was so cool and so realistic. My team was falling on the floor. Like, we actually went up a cliff in the metaverse. We were just in flat ground, but it was so realistic. 2 girls fell on the floor. It was you know, it was hilarious. She's actually right there. She's the one who fell on the floor. Yeah, but I definitely, I can assure you that we are moving towards the metaverse. It's going to be mainstream very soon, and there's nothing we need to do really. Like, the biggest brands in the world are moving to the mainstream already, and that's enough for itself. A lot of projects are trying to put property in the metaverse, fashion in the metaverse, and we're seeing it because we manage these clients, so it's happening really quick.
Also, the fun thing is that if this whole room was full of people like George's son, this question would be absolutely redundant, because, as she said, it is happening. I also think that it's not happening now when Facebook... Hello? When Facebook changed... Is there something wrong? Hey-o. When Facebook changed the name to Metaverse, it's been happening for the past 2-3 decades. I mean, your virtual avatar is becoming more and more and more important than the real you. I mean, it's really scary for somebody like me who use dial phones. So the thing is that the beautiful thing about technology is that if you don't adopt it, it just crushes you and moves forward. So it's we're on a stage where you either come in or you're just out.
And just to add to what Nikita said, I can't remember the name of it, but if you go to Mall of the Emirates, right beside the Apple Store, there's this 3D VR thing you can do. It's like 15 minutes. It's not expensive. Go do it. It's amazing. You are completely transformed into this other world, and it's like Indiana Jones, and you're going up and down. You know, you're given, even though you got a headset on, you're actually given something that you can hold and you can see it. And then there was this ball which my wife threw at me, and you know, that's how immersed she was in it. And I think we're still at the very early days of technology. To come to your questions, what can we do to push it? I believe it's more about the big companies providing the hardware and the software to make it more real. Look, no one wants to wear a brick on their face, but we're going to have someone come out pretty soon with a normal pair of glasses that beams it onto your eyeball. And I really believe more in augmented reality than in full immersed virtual reality. I think in the future, your TV will go, you'll just have a white wall and you'll watch your movies there. You will, you know, have an immersive experience where you and your friend can shop through Amazon and almost stroll through the aisles to really experience what you want to do. And, you know, the other thing is, eventually your driver's license in your car, all these things are going to be NFTs. And instead of having to go down to, you know, Sheikh Zayed Road, you'll be able to visit someone and have a conversation with them in the metaverse. When that type of utility comes in, that's when it's going to become mainstream.
Yeah, and I think another thing you can do, well, as George was mentioning, listen to your children, and if you don't have any children, go to talk to your nephews and nieces, or whoever young people you can find under the age of 20, because they will already be in the metaverse. And it doesn't need to have a VR goggle. It doesn't need to have like full immersive experience, because they're living there already, they're spending time, they're meeting their friends. And so go let them show you what they're doing, because they're the pioneers. They're already there, and we need to catch up with them. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I concur. At the end of the day, every single advertising agency is willing to pay for it, like 10 to 19, because they make the trends. And then what Prateek said, jingoistically, is that if you don't catch on, it just crushes you.
I have a question. Do we have time for audience questions? Yeah, sure. Anyone has a question? I think the lady in the front hat. Can someone?
So, hi everyone, my name is Fira. I was the first female NFT artist in Colombia, and Expo Dubai brought me here, that's why I'm here. And I have the biggest Telegram group of NFTs in Spanish speaker. So the problem is, like, you know, our countries are not so rich. There are a lot of artists that are super talented. So how you can do this PR organic?
So how do you promote things organically?
And how you say romper? Who speaks Spanish? Break, yeah. Break the barrier between like English speaker and Spanish speaker, because I want to be a bridge between the two worlds.
Nikita, maybe?
Nice to meet you. So you don't need money to market yourself. As I mentioned, you know, marketing is like a majority of the focus is about the community you build. So if you put yourself out there, you have so many platforms that are free to use. Just put yourself out there on social media. That's the most powerful tool you have. But also, speak to us. We love helping out. We love helping artists out, and I'm sure a lot of agencies do, who would want maybe help you out with no cost upfront, but maybe want a percentage in your project, or you know, in your art, maybe share of NFTs. So you can speak to me later. But for everyone else who is, you know, wondering how to like market yourself, if like, you know, you don't really have the funds for marketing, the answer is you don't need it. Like, you have plenty of free tools out there to market yourself, and social media is key.
Also, content is key. I mean, we've seen this on YouTube, not just in the metaverse. There's people who have spent millions on marketing. Those are my friends. And there's people who have just put out good content again and again and again. People are going to watch it. The algorithm is going to pick it up. And you're going to get the free marketing and virality from there. So just keep on putting out good content for people.
I definitely love what they're saying, and I've been doing marketing since 2015. And if you keep on pushing, going to people, promoting, going to everyone you know and screaming about your idea, you just need one person out of 100 to believe in you, and that one person can be basically revolutionary. Maybe Nikita can be one of them, who knows? And we had another question from the gentleman, yeah?
Sure. I'll give you Mike.
Centralized or decentralized?
Create economy, centralized or decentralized?
So I would say both. In 10 years, I think all the major entertainment companies will be in the metaverse as well, but the opportunity is for individuals to create it, and there's a competition right now, but I think the decentralized metaverses have an edge just because they cannot be bought. I mean, Decentraland cannot be bought by a corporation because each individual parcel is owned by a different person. So it's an interesting. It's going to be a race, and obviously Facebook is not going after the decentralized metaverse. They want to be the centralized metaverse where they own everything, right? They own you, they own your data, they own your avatar, they own your hair, they own your content, and that's not a future I would like. So I think we need to push back on the centralized metaverse. I think the content creation, I think some centralized entities that pool capital to make high-end content is good and necessary, but I think in terms of ownership, they shouldn't own everything.
I mean, when Meta came out, the CEO of Inamedinova brand said, this is time for all the decentralized guys to really get the head straight, because you have two paths in the road, and we got to really prepare to go decentralized and support as much as possible decentralized. At the end of the day, I think, again, if you just look at the creators coming on, they're the ones building the game on Roblox, they're building the game on different stuff. We just need Decentralands, we need Sandbox to really mature the platform, get more users on, get more games, fun games, and then as that comes on, the creator's gonna go there. Because if you're having a fun time, I tell you, I'll try to get everything for my son. Ping pong games, whatever, okay? Air hockey, everything, right? He loves Roblox. If you see him, he just likes sweatpants, he likes a regular shirt. He's not trying to buy high-end stuff. But if you see his avatar, he's peacocked out, okay? That money's going somewhere. Does that make sense? And that's where he sees right now. But if you have a platform with other creators that don't have unlimited Roblox money, does that kind of make sense? And they got to build the game. They got to build the game. Does they build it within? If Roblox is only paying you 5% and somebody else is paying you more, where are you going to go? So if you look at the guilds that's coming out, like back in Axie, back in all these games, and initially they pay 50%, now new guilds came out, I pay 60%. So you're going to see that trend where money's going to the creator, money's going to the gamer.
We have time for the last?
One more question, if anyone.
The last one? The best one? No? I think we have a very shy audience. I think the panel is having a lucky day.
Want to catch up personally with our panelists after the panel. I think, yeah, if anyone? No? Anyone?
Okay, me again. what is an intellectual orgasm for you?
Wow.
Wow. What is an intellectual orgasm for you? That's a very good question for the sexiest panel ever. Please, gentlemen.
Heyo. Intellectual orgasm, interesting. This doesn't work. As soon as you mention orgasm, it's like, oh, the world stops. I think I'm very ideological in terms of blockchain and crypto. So for me, of people trying. So for me, in the intellectual, I'm a gamer, so if you know what I mean. So the point. So for me, people understand where we are going with this, and people understanding that the blockchain world, the ideology behind it, we can help so many people who are in poverty, people who don't have access to banking, access to documents, all of them that can be solved by the push of a button in a sense. And we're just using these draconian systems for years and millennia and centuries. So intellectual orgasm for me is when people understand this and they sort of get converted and come to the dark side where they finally become maximalist like I am. So I would love for everything to be, independent of the mafia that we have everywhere in the world, and that's what keeps me awake.
I think for me, I've got 20 years in big corporate, international companies, and in the last year or so in crypto, being fully immersed in it, I've definitely met more smart people combined than the rest of my time, without a doubt. But I've also met more crazy people than in the rest of my life as well. But that's what I love about crypto. It's amazing. There are so many diverse, dynamic, and super smart people. And the fact that the model allows for people to just come up with an idea and raise money and then build their dreams, that is amazing to me. And everyone's spilling into the space now. There's so much money coming in, and what's going to come out the other end over the next couple of years is just incredible.
Very, very quickly, I'm getting the bad eye from the
I know intellectual orgasms don't come easy, but we need to wrap it up.
So I would say thank you to the audience, thank you to the great questions. I think this was informative. If you have anything else, we'll be here, you can ask. And I think all our panelists are entitled to the big round of applause. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.